Dark Droids Issue 2 finds the Scourge continuing to spread its influence and modify the Star Destroyer it took over, but it realizes that to stop the endless hunger it has, it will need to move from the metal into the meat. Scourge has stormtroopers brought before them, explaining so much information flows through them thanks to all of their parts, and he cannot get swept away in the endless torrent of details. And while he wishes to surrender himself to the torrent, he can't do it yet since he'll be vulnerable, and while in this form, they will continue to eat and eat. With each new perspective it gains threatening to wash it away further. The being deploys the little Scourge droid from the Fermata cage onto the stormtrooper, trying to possess it, but it instantly kills the trooper instead. It knows that it's running out of time as it finds various records in its databases of droids who have become self-willed, and each time it's resulted in the droid being destroyed by its master or someone else. He sees one of his selves kill its owner after it messes up a paint job, and he knows enough of these killings and incidents will begin to stack up, and the organics will begin to suspect that something is wrong with the droids. And after that, they will come for him. At Ajax Sigma's colony, Ajax is rebuilt into his warrior body form as he delivers a stirring sermon about how they are all individuals who have come together to forge a better life together. He tells them of a threat that has risen that will put their life in jeopardy, and they have an obligation to destroy the Scourge before it grows too much. The droids cheer their leader on as at the Rebel Alliance fleet, C-3PO, who has been infected by the Scourge, remembers how the last time it was stopped, it was with the Force and the Sith sealed it away in the Fermata cage. The Scourge wants to learn more about the Force, finding 3PO has seen it in action and knows someone who can wield it quite well. The droid runs into R2-D2, knowing that it needs to be careful around the astromech since it appears to be a warrior. 3PO tells the R2 unit that he was searching for a signal leakage on General Organa's orders, telling the little droid to accompany him and use its scanner near the airlock. R2 does so and begins scanning the airlock, not finding anything as 3PO grabs his sensor array, yanking it and pulling the droid down the hallway. Scourge hates the way 3PO's body moves, questioning why anyone would actually design a droid this way as he locks R2 into the airlock, punching the control panel and ejecting the droid into deep space. Scourge wishes that he could have taken over R2, but the droid knows that it would have pushed back against his influence for a time. He knows he might get the chance to do so someday as he heads to see Luke Skywalker, who is practicing with the Force. 3PO's arrival breaks Luke's concentration and he asks what the droid needs, so 3PO queries Luke about the Force and if maybe droids can use it. Luke knows that the Force connects all living things and is part of everything that has ever existed and will exist, including droids, but he has never heard of a droid using the Force. The droid points out Luke's mechanical hand, asking if his powers are reduced because of it. Luke, thinking that that's quite a personal question for the droid to ask, says he's never quite thought about it like that since the Force runs through his whole body. 3PO figures this means that cyborgs can use the Force as well, and instantly the Scourge begins gruesome experiments on the crew of the Star Destroyer, grafting human parts to droids and vice versa, all in an attempt to access the Force, but the human parts keep rotting away and the experiments fail. The droids don't understand why they fail though, since the Spark Eternal is part of it and it was able to inhabit organic beings, but now it cannot. The Scourge discovers the files of Faison Gore, a scientist who found success in combining organics and droid materials, and it decides to follow this path and discover how. Luke meanwhile tells 3PO that he isn't a cyborg, however someone like Darth Vader is. He asks the droid why he's suddenly so interested with the Force and all of these questions, and the droid thinks that Luke is suspicious, thinking that he could kill him by bringing in more of the Scourge-infected droids from across the fleet and crushing him against the bulkhead. He stops himself, deciding that Luke will live for now as he leaves. Luke calls 3PO back, asking if he's seen R2 since he needs the droid's help with something, but 3PO merely says he'll keep an eye out for the droid. 3PO knows that he needs a ship to get away from the fleet as Ajax gets one of his own, thanking Gertie for sacrificing her power core to power the ship. He hopes that she will enjoy her newer, bigger body as he tells the gathered troops that the Star Destroyer that has been taken over by the Scourge is in deep space. He knows that it's staying under the radar by mimicking standard Imperial procedure by using Imperial codes and voice impersonation, and that means that they can destroy the Scourge without the Empire learning about it or about them. 3PO meanwhile infects many other droids in the Rebel fleet as he goes to find a shuttle, finding the pilot aboard is meant to run a load of cargo across to one of the escort frigates. He finally asks 3PO to leave so he can get on his way, but 3PO kills the man as across the fleet, other infected droids cause various accidents and distractions. The Scourge know that this is going to cause the organics to begin to question if something is wrong with the droids, but 3PO, using the chaos the other droids wrought across the fleet, escapes in the shuttlecraft. The Scourge finds it's time to go after other beings who use the Force, and they will need a host with enough metal that they can host themselves in that, but one who also possesses enough organic tissue to use the Force. 3PO sets his ship's systems to head for the Mustafar system as the Scourge intends to target Darth Vader.